Welcome back to the Sports Trigger, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing the Kyrie Irving trade with Boston and Cleveland. Travis, are you ready to get started?
Let's talk trades.
Welcome back to the Sports Trigger, everyone. If you missed the news over the last day or two, really, there was a huge trade sending Kyrie Irving over to the Boston Celtics for a future draft pick and Isaiah Thomas and, Crowder as well. So, Travis, what do you think about the trade? Who do you think actually came out on top?
It's funny because I think a lot of people, could have seen this coming forth, essentially, of any team that had the best shot, obviously it'd be the Boston Celtics given the amount of draft picks and everything they have. But I definitely would have to go with the Celtics. I don't think it's as big a gap between who got the better deal as some people may, put it out there, depending on, I guess, who the first round pick is they get next year, being Cleveland. But, Kyrie is a much better player than Isaiah. I mean, he's a superstar. Isaiah is a great player, but he's definitely not a superstar, in my opinion, at least. So, great for Boston. They have Hayward now. They have some young players that can work around him. So, hats off to Boston, and I definitely have to be on their side on this one.
See, I'm completely surprised that the Cavs would trade Kyrie Irving to, their mainstay competition really right now in Boston. And Boston still has some assets there in the future to try and garner back into a draft. So that's why Boston, I think, is just like, whatever, we'll give up a pick, which could easily become a number one pick in the future. But they're like, we'll get rid of IT. I think it's great because on earlier shows I mentioned that it would have been a huge mistake for Boston to overpay him and pay him the max. So now they don't have that decision. That's off the table. They have a taller player. So, neither Kyrie or IT are great defenders, but Kyrie can at least affect some of the shots against the Warriors in the future. And if they play the Warriors in the future as well, Kyrie can he's already shown that he gives them fits on the defensive end. I mean, Klay Thompson had a tough task. He couldn't shut him down. Obviously, Curry can't shut him down. So, with that being said, I think the Celtics probably got the better of the deal right now. And the only way I see this being a bad deal for the Celtics is if Kyrie becomes a ball stop within the Celtics offense that flows very, very well, very useful. I mean, and you look at it, they did all the stats showed that Gordon Hayward had the highest percentage of his points coming from off the ball and movement off the ball without being ball dominant. So he's going to still want to thrive off of that. That's why Stevens brought him in there. Stevens like, hey, look, we'll move the ball around. We'll set screens. We hand off all that stuff to help you out. Now that Kyrie Irving's in there, I don't know if he doesn't fit into that mold, then it could end up being a disruptor for this next year. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would definitely argue that Isaiah, to a certain degree, held the ball a lot. Obviously, within Brad Stevens' offense, as you stated, it's a lot of movement. So really, you can't really have a ball stop in there. But obviously, Kyrie's a whole different type of player. But I would imagine that, Brad and, their GM have had talks with Kyrie at least to the point to where, they get a better understanding and they feel comfortable, or else in a way, it won't be a step back, but it won't be a step forward with Kyrie coming in and messing up their whole flow, because that's how they were successful last year, and the biggest thing they had was Isaiah Thomas. So, I totally agree with what you're saying, and I don't think that Kyrie is going to be an issue as far as hogging the ball too much. I think he wanted to be that guy that took the last shot, over LeBron. So I think he's definitely got that, and I definitely think he'll fit into the mold because of that now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, he could come in and be the guy. As Isaiah Thomas showed, you can be within Stevens' offense, and you can still score a high amount of percentage and be a high percentage scorer at that. So no problem there. I don't think Gordon Hayward's going to change that. Hayward would be fine with 20 points a game, I think, or maybe the 18 to 20 point range. And Kyrie can have his, 27 to 29 points, and they can filter that on out. I think the key cog to this, and it must be a lot of confidence, is in Tatum. They must have the highest confidence in there to trade away a potential number 1 pick in the future in another stacked draft that everybody's looking at, especially if you look at Bagley and the Porter brothers going to be in the section. I mean, it could be another stacked draft. So Boston has to have the utmost confidence in saying, okay, we're Kyrie Irving, and then we have Tatum there, and with Gordon Hayward, we're good to go.
And to that point as well, Jaylen Brown definitely showed some stuff in the playoffs last year. This is his second or third year out of the draft, and then Marcus Smart is still there, right? He wasn't the one that was traded out either.
Right,
at any
right.
point.
Yeah, okay. I believe both of those are still there. Obviously, Bradley's gone, which that's some defensive ability there. But I think the other thing in this deal, if you look at it, Kyrie bought him an extra year to, he's going to have him unlocked for an extra year, not have to make a decision right away, and under a modest salary, really, when you compare to what IT was probably going to try and get with the max contract. And then you had Bradley, who was going to command more money too, so you dumped that off. So even though they're still going to have cap questions in the future, they bought themselves a little more time, and they upgraded the roster. So, I mean, Kyrie Irving's still an upgrade to the roster, in my opinion, over IT.
Oh, easily.
So, in my mind, I think Boston right now is going to be the winner of that trade. But we'll see. I don't know. I mean, LeBron could turn it on, and IT could keep playing with the chip on his shoulder, and Crowder, let's face it, the Cavaliers definitely got better on the defensive end by this trade.
Definitely.
Even with IT, Crowder is an upgrade on the wing defender, which is what they needed. So we'll see. I don't know. IT still has some health questions and stuff along those lines. So there's still so many variables to be played out. But I do agree with you and with a lot of some of the analysts that have kind of weighted it out to say that the gap really isn't that big one way or the other. So, well, this year, who knows if the 2018 pick becomes number 1 and it's, a superstar coming out of that, then, the Cavaliers made out huge, especially if they end up keeping LeBron James. So with that being said, guys, thanks a lot for joining us on the Sports Trigger, and until next time.